Today, we sit down with a man whose work is changing Ohana from the inside out. Russell Kimura is more than the founder of Fathers and Daughters Prom. He's a husband, a father of 3 daughters, a man of faith, and an architect of moments that become memories.
You are building a legacy, and I'm so grateful that I get to witness it. So I'm so thankful for you.
Through proms, beach movie nights, and intentional spaces for dads and daughters to connect, he's helping restore something sacred in humanity. But what makes Russell powerful isn't perfection, it's purpose, while still figuring out his own life and his own challenges. Today, we talk fatherhood, faith, legacy, raising daughters, letting go, and the expectation of being a Superman to everyone. Russell Kimura, welcome to BrotherLee Time.
Good to have you. Thank you for having me here. It's beautiful, man. I appreciate you. Hey, can I pray for us real quick?
Oh,
Is that cool?
Why is that the first time?
I know.
Because we need Jesus.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Bro.
Jesus, thank you for this time. Thank you for these brothers. Thank you for their hearts. And I pray that you would guide and direct our conversation, that only what you want to be said would be said, that there's questions that we didn't even think of that you bring to our mind, and there's answers that only you could bring, that you would bring. So I pray that you bless this time. May it be impactful. May the hearts who need to hear it, hear it. May the message of whatever you desire, that they would hear that, and you would bless our time in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thank you, Russ.
Yeah. Good to be here. Thank you, guys. It's the first time, because last time was me and Kenji solo.
I know, right?
And now it's like the 4 of us. Beautiful.
Full circle, baby.
Bro, how did I meet you?
We met in COVID. So we were doing an Inspire Collective leadership thing, and you prepared something from Roy's and speaking on leadership. And then, so I was leading that at the time. And so they introduced me, hey, we're going to bring this speaker on. And then, so we met prior to it via Zoom. This was in 2020, I think.
Was Mike Kai facilitating that?
I mean, Mike Kai is the founder of Inspire Collective. I was helping facilitate Inspire Collective at the time. And then we moved all online. And they're like, hey, we have this great speaker, Taisei. He's the GM of Roy's. And I was like, okay, cool. And so we brought you in to share online to a bunch of people. And that's how we initially connected.
Damn, can I get that footage?
Yeah, man. Well, I don't know where it's at. I don't know where it's at, but I remember you were like prepared. You had slides, you know. What? It was really good, man. Yeah. Yeah, it was 2020, 2021 maybe.
I don't know, man. So much has happened since then. So I wanted to kind of touch up on that, how we met.
Yeah.
But, you know, first and foremost, brother, how are you feeling today, man? You finally here, BrotherLee Time.
Oh, man.
And I just want to mention one other thing. I said father-daughter combo, but we got Ava here. She's a young queen. She's doing her thing. And she's a very driven individual. And, you know, a lot of times when you see the younger generation, they're still figuring it out. She figured something out, and we're going to dig into that later. Kenji's going to interview Ava, so we're really stoked about that. But for now, Russ, how are you feeling today, brother?
Man, I'm grateful to be in this space. You know, I recall a conversation you and I had. I don't know what year it was. I don't know if it was 2023, 2024. And we were outside your office at Roy's, and we both, Fathers with Daughters hadn't really started yet. BrotherLee Time or Taisei Discovers didn't start yet. But we both had this sense that there's something for us. There's God's doing something. We don't know what it is. We don't really know what that's going to look like. But we just knew that in our hearts, we were going to start into something that was like our passion, into how we can really show up in the world. And so to see that all come together, and now I'm on BrotherLee Time, getting to share about Fathers with Daughters, it's surreal, because I do remember that moment when we were outside your office talking about, hey, what's on our heart? There's something, but we didn't know, and we're struggling, and we're trying to believe in each other, wasn't even here yet.
Interesting. So it started with a Zoom call, you know, where I was speaking on my experience of leadership. And then we actually had a sit down in-person conversation. And I do remember that because you were very, for lack of better words, inspiring to me. And I was going through a really difficult time. But there were even more difficult times ahead. So you saw me when I was a little lost. I didn't know what was to come. You inspired me to dream bigger and kind of go introspective and think about what I want for myself. And I remember then we started formulating ideas about where we'd end up. Then I went through a very huge life-changing moment. I had my bouts with self-medication and whatnot. And, what is it? 6 years later, one thing I do remember quite vividly is that you are one of the men that was always there at the right time when I needed to feel support and community. I never asked you, why were you so adamant about checking up on me?
Part of my life's purpose, if not my life's purpose, is to help and serve those around me that I just feel called to, that I want to see them live their highest and best. And so when I get connected to people, I just have senses of like, I'm just going to check up on them. I want to be there. I care about people deeply, and you're one of those people. And we connected, but I wasn't just connected just to be connected. I was like, I want to support you in whatever you got going on. And so I would just get prompts and like, I'm going to reach out to Taisei, see how he's doing, and I wouldn't just think it, I would do it. I'd either send you a text, I'd reach out and have a call just because I was like, I'm just going to check on, see how you're doing. Because to me, I believe connection can happen one time. Like, hey, we got connected through that Inspire Collective, but connection needs to be fostered, right? And if you're not intentional, it kind of just drifts. And I think that's one of my giftings, is understanding how to continue to formulate connection. But I do it naturally. God's given me this knack to just check in on people and just see where they're at. I don't know where they're at, but I have a genuine heart to just love and connect. And so that's kind of how it has continued to go, and honestly, I get a lot out of our conversations. Like, I'm inspired by you. It's mutual. So like, in my opinion, like, I get a lot of energy just from walking with people. I mean, that's just a joy for me. And so it's not like, oh, I need to check on people and help them. Like, actually, I'm doing it selfishly because I get a lot of benefit from just loving people and connecting with people as well.
Well, I sense that. So I don't know if I ever thanked you, but thank you.
Yeah.
It's, I think in today's society, men checking up on men is not as big of a thing as it should be. So keep that in mind, gentlemen, check on those that you love. There's something very grounding about it. And you actually came at the right moments. So I want to jump into some things, man. Last night was when I sat down after work and I formulated these questions. There's all different ways to prepare for an interview. But with you, I felt like, bro, we know each other on a deeper level, 6 years now. We've been through a lot. So the questions came naturally. And I literally went, doom, 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 doom. And I was like, good. That sounds good. Sent them to Kenji. He was like, yo, that's fire. So let's jump into it. So how important is it to be in love with yourself?
Well, I do believe that the way that you view yourself impacts everything. And that can kind of sound weird, self-love. Like, wow, that sounds interesting. Like, we love other people, but don't love yourself. So I think how we view ourselves, or who we view ourselves to be, is super important. And for me, I have a faith. And so I see myself as a son of God. And so God's my father. And in that, as I see myself loved, because I know I'm infinitely loved beyond my performance, beyond what other people say, beyond who I think I am in the world, where I do this or I do that. So I'm loved. I'm loved because of who I am. And as that, I embrace that. And it's a work in progress. So I'm not there, but I'm continually working on how do I separate my love for myself based on performance, because I grew up in a performance culture, sports, sales, like all these things is all performance driven, right? We learn, hey, you get your worth and your validation and quote love from what you produce and how you strive. And so that's a current day thing that I'm continuing to learn about, is how do I continue to love myself, even if the numbers don't look great, or even if the bank account doesn't look great, or even if the relationships are rocky right now. How do I continue to show up and recognize that I'm loved by who I am, regardless of how my production is? And so I think it's really important, but I think it's a struggle. And I think it's in this culture, we really look at the accolades, we look at the performance, we look at the things, and rightfully so, and to some degree, but at the end of the day, knowing I'm loved by my Heavenly Father first, then I can love myself, is a process that I'm learning, and how to free myself from striving for love and then serving from love. Yeah.
What's an example or a decision that you make when it comes to choosing yourself first or loving yourself?
Well, I do believe that you want to pour from a cup that's full. And so I do take time every day. I do make it a point to get to sleep, make sure that I'm rested. And my daughter is nodding because come 8, 9 o'clock, I'm like yawning, like, Dad. I'm like, yeah, but I need to get to bed. So then I can wake up and I can be refreshed and I can be ready for the day. And then I spend time in the morning. My friend has a meditation app. So I spend time with the Lord, meditating, journaling, reading God's word, and like preparing myself. And so I feel I love myself that way before I'm just going and giving to everyone else, because I like to give and I like to serve others. But if you're not first, in my opinion, taking time to reflect, journal, pray before the day. So I feel like that's an important thing, is like, what's my morning routine? How am I filling my cup and having myself connect with God first, so then I can go give to others? I think that's the best way I can love myself, is give myself a priority rather than like, I just gotta, right when I wake up, I'm going, full blast. And then my battery's drained by like half day, And so I'm trying to continue to come from a place of service and love, but first filling my cup and taking time for myself and my family.
Dang. So something as simple as making sure that you go to sleep early so you have a full night of sleep is one way of giving back to yourself.
Yeah.
So that you can pour from your cup. What an interesting concept. And I know Kenji's actually applied that to his life recently, because I'll be texting him at 9:30 and he's like, what? I'm sleeping. Okay, well, I have something to learn from that. Let's jump into the fathers and daughters prom. I have a personal experience with that and I can kind of share my part on it. But the fathers and daughters prom is such a beautiful, almost obvious idea, but only in hindsight. What moment made you realize that this needed to exist?
Well, I did it first for myself and my daughters. I was taking the proms. There was a New Hope prom that we were going to before. And so I loved the concept. I loved seeing it. As soon as I saw it, I signed up. I'm like, I'm taking my daughters to this prom. This is cool, man. Enjoyed it. And then when COVID hit and we did the Zoom prom, and then that was really cool, because my daughters asked me, hey, when are we going to prom? I'm like, there's no prom. No one's gathering or anything, but let's do a Zoom prom. So that was kind of fun, where I realized we can organize something, and like 40 dads and daughters came on Zoom, right? And we did music, games, raffles, different things like that. It was really kind of fun and chinky because it's like Zoom, but it was fun. When we opened up and we did the first one in person at Inspire Church, there was a moment when I was greeting the dads and daughters. Like I was kind of the host and, hey, I'm glad you guys came, welcoming. And there was dads and daughters coming from the parking lot into the prom, to the sanctuary or the lobby, and the daughter was just dressed up, had flowers, was so excited. You could just see the excitement, and then there's like this nervousness but kind of proud dad coming through. And that moment, there's something where it's like, man, there's something here that's so beautiful that left to their own, dads may or may not do, but if I can create more moments for dads to do this, what would that look like? And so it really drove me, like that image of these dads and daughters and the transformation that can come from a moment in time where everything stops and you're just with your daughter, and she's the most precious princess in the world, and the dad is loving on the daughter. Like, man, that it was something that drove me. Like, I want to do more, not just proms. I want to do other events. I want to do equipment. I want to do things that can help these dads connect with their daughters, because I believe the world gets bigger as you give. So I'm not just like, I just want to do this for my daughters and that's it. Like, I was like, man, if we can do this for others, my world gets bigger. My daughters benefit from it. I mean, obviously you'll hear more how my daughter's helping us with that now, but that wasn't initially the intent. The intent was, let's just do more of this for other dads and daughters. And somehow it just kind of snowballed. And I do believe that there was those moments where I was like, this is necessary and important. And I don't even think we've scratched the surface of the meaning of all this is to come, but we keep taking steps, keep iterating, and keep seeing what, by each faithful step, what comes from it.
Can you give us an idea of the impact and support that you have for these events, like where it started and how big was it last year?
Last year was at the Hawaii Convention Center. We had 350 dads and daughters.
Wow.
So it's continued to grow, and there's been response where I think wives are signing dads, husbands up sometimes. But either way, I don't care who signs them up. I'm just glad that they're showing up. I'm glad that they are looking forward to it. And I've heard countless dads tell me how, like, so we had it in June last year, and it's like December, and they're like, my daughter's still asking about prom, talking about prom. And so that lights me up of like, okay, we're doing something where this is impacting the daughters in such a way that 6 months later, they're still talking about it. And they're asking, Daddy, when's prom? And like, oh, sweetie, it's not for another year. But I think part of it being special like that, if we did it every month, it wouldn't be as special. So the fact that we do it once a year on Father's Day weekend, it builds this bond for the dads and daughters of something to look forward to. I always think of this principle for our family. I try to put something on the calendar, whether small or big, that we have something to look forward to. Hey, we're going to go vacation. Maybe it's not till July or August, but we got something on there. We have something to look forward to. And so if we have that for dads and daughters, hey, you know what? We're going to prom, and we're looking forward to that in June. It's something to look forward to. Even it can help you through the tough times. Oh, this is so tough right now. But you know what? June, we're going to prom, and we're going to go together, and we're going to have the best time, and it's just going to be magical for us.
Sorry, man. I just got a little emotional because so my personal experience, I got to go to one, and you've invited me every year since you've known me.
Absolutely.
Or since its inception. And I've made it to one, and it was one of the fondest memories that I have with my eldest daughter. And now she's a different age, and she has different things that she got going on, and Daddy supports her through it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just got a little emotional thinking about how special that moment was for me, but also for her, because I know she had a great time. Can you explain to our viewers what it looks like? The father, what can they expect from that experience?
Yeah, we talk about epic and elegant is partly what we're trying to do, create this magical moment in time where almost time stops for them. So they can come, they're going to expect, they come up, there's going to be a red carpet entrance kind of tunnel. And then when they enter the ballroom, we're going to have different activities from henna tattoos to balloon artists to a claw machine to photo booths to different activities that dads and daughters can do together and enjoy the evening. When we get into the actual evening, we have obviously dinner, dancing, DJ. We have games. We have a daddy-daughter dance competition. This year, we're replacing the dad joke, which you won, the dad joke competition, by the way. We're replacing with a dad-daughter speed competition painting thing, because we bring in a speed painter, and so they're going to go on stage and kind of paint something. So we find different ways for there to be entertainment, but also fun for dads and daughters to compete and do different things. But I will say that all of those things that we do, the magical moments that we have for the elegance and all of the beautiful things, it really is for this one moment. And I don't know if you remember this moment, but what we do is we do a daddy-daughter moment. And we do, sometimes it's a bracelet, a necklace. Last year was a crown. But basically, when they're all come to the ballroom and they're excited for the evening, dressed up, we take a moment to pause. And I'm completely honest, I do all of this because of that one moment, because that moment's worth it. And basically, life is so busy, right? We have so much going on. So I don't want to just create this fun moment and just miss this opportunity for there to be some transformation within a relationship between dads and daughters. So we pause and we say, hey, dads, daughters, look at each other, turn to each other. This is your moment. And dads, you're going to speak some words over your daughter, and you're going to tell her how precious she is. You're going to tell her how much she means to you. And then you're going to put this necklace on her to remind her of who she is and who daddy sees her as, and how much what he's committing to you as a father. And I kid you not, that moment has been so powerful. There's not a dry eye. I mean, you got these local brothers crying.
Absolutely.
Everyone's crying. There's something about a dad-daughter connection. I can't even talk about the moment with my daughters last year. I facilitated the whole thing. Hey, dads, you're going to do this. And, you're going to put this crown on your daughter. You're going to share how much you love her. And then I was like, oh, I need to go to my daughter. So I ran outside, grabbed the crowns, came back to the table where my daughters were seated. I got down on the table, or down on my knees by the table. And I literally tried to get out 2 words, and I couldn't. I just started crying. I was like, girls, the expression that I wanted to give them, but sometimes more than words, it's the expression they feel. And I had a dad and daughter. She was a mom, and she bought tickets for her husband and kid and daughters. They had to take a last minute trip. So she's like, hey, Russ, can I come to the prom and bring my dad? So she's like 40 something and her dad's 70. I was like, hey, there's no age limit. So she bought a dress on Amazon. She's like, I'm gonna ask my dad. I'm not sure. He's kind of samurai, like he's kind of like tough. But she said, hey, you know what? He's gonna come. So they came to prom, 40 and 70. Did the photo booth, they did everything. But she said that moment, the father-daughter moment, says she'll remember for the rest of her life. Because she said in her life, she's 40 something now, she's only seen her dad cry twice. It was at her mom's funeral and that daddy-daughter moment. And so imagine her life growing 40 years old, she's never seen that kind of emotion from her dad. What I'm believing is these daughters are growing up, they're 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, whatever. They're seeing emotion from their dad, the vulnerability from their dad in these moments. I believe it can be transformational, where they're like, we want to be strong, we want to be tough. We've grown up as men. Hey, don't cry, that's weak. Don't show emotion. You're being soft, right? And yet there's something about the daughter and the dad and the heart there that when we create that moment, there's something powerful that happens. And so I'm just laying it out there. The reason I work so hard to do this is that moment. And I take that moment very serious because I remember it with my daughters. And I also know, like in brain chemistry, like when you want to speak to the subconscious, you have to have elevated emotion. So sometimes trauma is elevated and those things happen. But also when there's like high emotion, sometimes you can bypass the conscious and you get to the subconscious. So I'm believing in those moments, dads are speaking to the subconscious where they don't even know, but they're hearing, I'm worth it. I am precious. I am beautiful. So whenever other things come up, their subconscious is reprogramming who they are, where their dad is speaking life into them. And so I'm only understanding how this is working now, but we've been doing it every single prom because I just knew, hey, this moment for the dads and daughters is going to be precious. But when we do it, it's to me, it's worth the price of admission, if you will. Like there's no price tag you can put on that. But dads might come thinking they're going to have a fun night, which they will, daughters. Well, what I'm really believing is they're going to come in and they're going to have a meaningful transformation moment with their daughter.
Kenji, can you give me a tissue, bro?
Got you. But Russ, I got a question for you on that. Is what are fathers transforming? From what to what?
I believe it's identity. So I'm believing that the daughters are understanding because they're getting their sources of who they are from what the world says. You need to look a certain way. You need to, put on this kind of front. You need to look a certain way to be a certain way. And that's their identity, right? Or their identities in performance, sports, or dance, or different cheerleading. And hey, you're the best this. And so their identity is being shaped by them around them. But we know that identity comes from deep within. And so what I believe is what's being shaped on the deeper level in the subconscious as that moment happens, because it's elevated. Like it's the most epic thing. They're dressed up. There's all of this around them. It's beautiful. It's elegant. It's so emotional. And when dads speak identity and say, you are loved just because you're my daughter, not because you got good grades, because you got straight A's, because you got made the all-star team, or you're the cheerleader, top cheerleader. None of that. You are you, and dad loves you because of you. I think deep down what's transforming is an identity in the daughter, and that they move forward from that place. Whether they consciously know it or not, subconsciously, I'm believing that they're hearing, just like I'm trying to hear from my Heavenly Father, who I am, regardless of my performance, regardless of what has happened in my life, who I am. And so I think there's a powerful moment of transformation of identity for the daughters to know, hey, I'm precious, regardless of what the world says, regardless of how much I weigh, regardless of how much I performed or didn't perform, I am loved. And that's unconditional love that I think dads want to communicate, but sometimes we default to, hey, you got to get better grades. Or when they get good grades, we're like, hey, awesome. So they think, oh, the way I get dad's approval is performance. But in that moment, they did nothing. They showed up in this beautiful dress, and they're hearing, I'm loved, I am beautiful, I am enough. And that, I think, transforms identity.
Thanks.
Let me just blow my nose. I wanted to let you finish first, bro. Bro, when I was thinking about this interview, I was thinking more of like from an interviewer standpoint, got all these questions. But I didn't even think of how touching this would be and what kind of feelings I would have to revisit. And I go through my own fatherhood challenges, I guess you can say. But I feel strong in the fact that I'm capable to handle this, And I saw a statement yesterday. Somebody said, God wouldn't give you anything that you can't handle, and I firmly believe that. But it doesn't mean it's any less challenging.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And man, to hear that story of a 40-year-old woman and her 70-something-year-old father, and then that being the second time that she saw him become vulnerable and emotional, and what that did. And then the whole thing about how, society looks at men that are emotionally intelligent, we'll say, and aware, expressing your sadness or your sorrow in the form of crying is frowned upon. And I have my own experiences with that.
Sure.
So I would suppress my feelings a lot and overcompensate to try to appear stronger than I felt I was.
Yeah.
And I didn't interpret, expression as strength. But, in my recent years, I've found, in my relationship with myself and in my relationship with the higher power, that it's okay to feel vulnerable. And through men like you, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like through men like you, and actually even to my brother, I've opened up to him as well. So these feelings that you're seeing right now is literally not planned. It's just what it is. And I allow myself to feel this, and I'll find these pockets emerge daily. To be honest, it's like I'm kind of giving in to all the things that I've felt, and I'm slowly allowing myself to feel. You know what I'm saying? And as a Pisces, as Taisei, I feel like I have real strong intuitive abilities. Like you have your gifts, I have my gifts. I can sense people, I can feel them before I come into the room. So I'm a very, I would say, sensitive in terms of energy. And I'm finally allowing it to flow through me, and I'm without blockage. So let me just compose myself so I can finish the second half of this interview real quick.
We're two brothers from Hawaii, and this channel is our opportunity to tell stories around the world. If you have a place, a city, an event, or a story that you think we should experience and you can help make the travel possible, there's a connect form in our site linked below. And if it makes sense, we'll reach out. Thanks for watching. Back to the episode.
Okay, so I got some questions, more questions for you, brother.
Yeah.
This is a kind of an important question. I think a lot of people have issues with this in relationships. I'm talking man, woman, woman, woman. I'm talking humanity. What is infidelity, and why does it even happen?
What is infidelity? Well, I mean, my structure as I grew up, as I understand it, if you're in marriage, infidelity would be being unfaithful to that covenant or that marriage covenant. Why it happens, I think there's many reasons, and I don't know that I'm positioned to fully understand that completely, but I do know that we all have challenges within relationships. We all have things that we commit to and that we falter and that we don't keep our commitments. We're all human. We all fail. And so I do think that sometimes there is people put a big value, and I think rightfully so, in the sense of on marriage or like faithfulness. I think that's a beautiful thing. And so when infidelity can come in, it can be a really hard thing where I was unfaithful to you, so to speak. I broke my vows, or I committed to you and I chose to go outside of those things and, connect myself in a different way to someone else. I think that can be challenging in relationships for sure, in marriages. Why it happens, again, I don't really know. I think there's so many different reasons that can happen, but it is something that is very hard in relation. I have seen people reconcile back from infidelity, so it's not the end all. I think relationships can be molded and shaped in ways that can withstand that, but it's a very difficult thing. I think it takes a lot of healing, it takes a lot of things that come into that. But I think the challenge, if we think we have to be perfect, now again, in this area, I don't think that we want to be like, it's okay, you just do whatever you want to do. I think we should try to uphold a standard of commitment in our vows and different things. But I don't look down on anyone who has committed infidelity or it's happened. I just think, hey, we're all human. My heart's desire, I hope and pray I don't have to experience that, nor my kids or those around me, because I know how heartbreaking it can be. Mm-hmm. But I also recognize our humanness and the things. And so, I don't know really how to answer that question of why, but I do know, I would answer it to our humanness, like our sinful nature, our propensity for just, kind of doing things we know we probably shouldn't do. That's part of sometimes human nature comes up, but that's a tough thing.
It's all right, man. There is no wrong answer.
Sure.
I'm getting to know Russ.
Yeah.
And as a man of very strong faith, it intrigues me to see how your mind works. And I see a lot of it. Just working in the business that I do, I come across thousands and thousands of people every week.
Yeah.
So I do see a lot of social situations and dynamics between humans. And, I just wanted to see your take on that. Yeah. How can serving God help you in your path to being a better human being? As somebody that's not religious, but I consider myself very spiritual.
Yeah.
And I actually recently have strengthened my bond with Jesus Christ personally. Yeah. I don't have to get into the details, but I can say he's one of the best, if not the best listener that I've ever encountered. And that's my personal experience. Sure. But I want to know from you, how can serving God help in your path in being a better human being?
Yeah, I believe that by serving God, we become the best version of ourselves. And I think when we serve ourselves, we become the worst version of ourselves. In serve ourselves, meaning if it's self-serving just for taking, like I just want to serve myself. I don't care about anyone else. All I care about is myself, right? We talked about loving ourselves earlier. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when we go inward and all we care about is ourselves, and our whole mission is to get mine. I just want what I want, and I want to serve myself, and I believe we become, one of the worst versions of ourselves because we're just selfish and we just kind of are inward. And I'm not judging anyone who's in that place. I'm just saying I don't believe we become our best version of ourselves when we're just serving ourselves and become inward. So to reflect back on your question, when I recognize I'm not here for myself, I'm here for others, and I'm here to serve God and others, because the greatest commandment is love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul, your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the two greatest commandments. Okay, so then if that's what I'm called to do, I'm called to serve and love God first and foremost, and then love others. Then as I do that, I become the best version of myself, I believe. And it was interesting, we're driving over here, and I told Ava on our drive, I was like, I think I heard this podcast or heard this thing. I was like, one of the best questions, one of the questions I think we get wrong as parents and we focus on is like, what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do when you grow up? Or even better, who are you going to be, right? And I said, I think they said, you should be asking yourselves, what problems are you going to solve? And I was like, that's interesting. But if we think about that, what does that mean? It means I'm created in a certain way to serve others. And as I do that and I help others and I solve a problem or serve people to solve a problem, money follows service. Money follows solving a problem. And so if you think about how am I wired and how can I use those gifts to serve others and solve problems, you're going to be fine, right? And so rather than like, what job are you going to do? What are you going to do when you grow up? All that stuff. Think about how you're created and how you're going to solve problems for others. How are you going to serve others? Ultimately serve God. For me, I'm serving God. Like I'm called to serve God and serve others. As I do that, I'm going to be the best version of myself. If I get back into, I just need to serve myself. I need to get mine. I need to build my empire. I need to build my kingdom. I need to me. I get inward, and I fall into that at times, for sure. I'm not perfect, but I get inward and I don't become the best version of myself. But I find I'm the best when I'm serving others, when I'm giving, when I'm trying to be generous in my time, my energy, in my resources, in my giftings, and what I can give the world.
Thank you. That's wonderful insight. And, you know, in my own personal path, I come across a lot of people. So I come across a lot of couples that are celebrating anniversaries, which is really neat. I'd say one of the best parts of my job is being around people that are celebrating happy life moments.
Yeah.
And, you know, birthdays and graduations and promotions and stuff. Those are all cool. But anniversaries intrigue me. Mm-hmm. And when people are like, we're on our 40th anniversary, our 39th anniversary, I'm like, I always ask, you know, what's the secret? Sure. And I always address the man because I am a man. So I'm like, yo, brother, help me out.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And there's like two major things that I always hear. And it's the whimsical, yes, dear. Sure. Right? Sure. Which there is truth to that.
Yeah.
Yes, dear. Yes, ma'am. Whatever she says, I do. Sure. Right? Happy wife, happy life.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, thank you for that. I hear that 1,000 times. But BK, what's the second? what's behind that? And I would say maybe 50% of the time, it's we put God first. And for those couples, I'm like, okay, so tell me, what is the mechanics behind that? Whenever you're going through a difficult, egotistical issue, I feel this way, you feel that way. When you put God first, there's a higher power that is centering you, that is the cohesive bond between you that you can kind of reference and pull strength from. Yeah. Right? And it's a place of love.
Yeah.
Love and light. So if that is your foundation, that we both share that common understanding and that common faith, that's where we draw our strength from. And I think it makes it a little bit more, not easier, but it just makes, what would you say? It's like the glue between two people.
Yeah.
When you share that common ideology, or faith, or spirit. And I think that's sometimes what can hold you together in difficult moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
See beyond the ego.
Yeah. I think when I look at Jesus, what did he do? He sacrificed his life. When you look at God, he sacrificed his son. So one of the core tenets of faith is sacrifice, dying to yourself, if you will, or dying, literally dying on a cross, right? So how do I live in my marriage if the one I serve, the one that I love, the one I attribute, hey, I'm committed to you, God, and we're committed to you, God, as a couple. And one of the biggest things is sacrifice. How do I hold, and I'll be completely transparent. My wife and I just went through Monday. We went through a little thing where we both wanted our own way, right? Because we were selfish. She wanted to, like, we had a long weekend. She wanted to connect, but then, so I told her, yeah, that we can after dinner, you know, whatever. I told her we could connect, but then I wanted to watch a show on Netflix that we had talked about, or that our girls. And so on dinner, I was like, hey, what if we watch this and then we can connect? You know, in my mind, we can do both. And she already had her mind, she wanted this way. And I want to add this in. And so we kind of got into it because I wanted what I wanted. She wanted to connect the way she wanted, you know, to be quiet and just kind of relax after dinner, not put on a show or whatever. I'm thinking, we could do both. And it kind of blew up because we both dug in our heels. I want what I want. And that happens in marriage. But as we realized, and we circled back the next day yesterday, and it's like, hey, so we apologize and say, I recognize where I was selfish and I wanted what I wanted. And I'm sorry for that because I created longer tension than we needed to. I'm sorry because I wanted but we do that because we recognize it's not about me. It's about how do I die to myself and love you, because that's how Christ loved us and loved the church. And that's ultimately an instruction. When I performed more than 20 weddings. I don't know if you knew that. So I did weddings. And the scripture that I would always use is in Ephesians 5. It talks about husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Well, Christ, how did he love the church? He laid down his life for the church. And so I call husbands, this is your call, is to lay down your life for your wife. And that's going to come in so many different ways. But sometimes it's just dying to your pride, dying to your ego, dying to your selfishness of what I want. I wanted it this way, and I want it to this and this and this. And if I can't die to myself and I'm just stubborn, which I am, it creates so much tension and conflict. But the moment I start to like release and say, it's not about me, and I'm called to lay down my life for my wife or whatever, it does loosen it a little bit and helps work through these things where recognize I don't have to be perfect, but I need to at least recognize I'm called to lay down my life. And even for my daughters or sacrifice or different things, how do I serve them rather than how do you serve me? And sometimes we think marriage is about, you got to make me happy. I need you to make me happy. So what are you doing for me?
Yeah.
And that's a completely different tone and take. And so that's why I believe a marriage rooted on faith, at least for us, helps tremendously, because it's less about, hey, what are you going to do for me? My needs aren't being met. I need you to serve me. I need to be happy. But more so, how can I serve you? How can I serve God and serve you? And then I become happy through that. And I think we get it mixed up. I'm going to be happy when you meet my needs. Actually, I'm going to be happy as I submit and serve you. I actually ultimately become more happy. So I think that's how it can help in marriage.
Yeah. What would Jesus do? It's like spiritual and emotional framework. And I do see where you're coming from. And there's something that really still intrigues me about it. I want to move on to Ava and her role in fathers and daughter's prom. But real quick, before that, I was thinking, what about a mother and son prom? Or even a prom for older people that may have lost a spark? I feel like this could evolve into a whole lot without diluting what you're doing, the purpose. But fathers and daughters is genius. But is there space or a room or a need for mothers and sons?
100%. I think there is a big need for that. I think that I've been approached many times. Hey, what about your mom and sons? Like moms are asking, or what about these things? And so I totally understand that I think it's a great need to be fulfilled. But I also have learned from a capacity standpoint how much I can only do so much, but I would love to partner. I love to give vision. I would love to say, if someone wants to champion this and say, hey, I have a heart and I think I would love to see all of that come to pass with other people as well. So I'm not doing everything, because I feel like I can only do so much, right? But I think that is something to lean into. Like if someone had a heart to champion moms with sons, man, that's such a unique and beautiful relationship as well. And I would love to come alongside and champion that and say, hey, that's a great vision. That's a great heart. And I can help you with vision. I can help you with certain things, structure. We have SOPs now with the prom because we're going to do one in Spokane. So we need to have certain things. And I think honestly, a mom and son prom is going to look different in terms of vendors. There's not going to probably be glitter tattoos. There's going to be some slightly different stuff. But at the end of the day, the concept is still there. And if someone was like, yeah, let's go, I was like, I will champion and come alongside that. And I would love to see some of that intentionality within the family grow, whatever that looks like. I like that idea of the older kapuna proms. That could be beautiful. I mean, that's so amazing. What would that look like? Capacity wise, I know my limits as of now. Who knows what God's going to do? Who knows how that's going to grow? Who knows who's going to come out of the woodworks to be like, I want to champion that. Let's go. And we work together. So I think that's possible. But I just know for my capacity, the fathers with daughters is as much as I can take on right now.
Yeah. Well, I know you have your hands full, because I can only imagine the logistics. And that's a great segue into your relationship with Ava. You also have other daughters as well.
Absolutely.
But for Ava, the oldest one, the one that will be spreading her wings soon.
Yes.
I want you to kind of touch on that and how that feels, because at some point, Kenji and I will both be there as well. But what is Ava's role? And was it a role that she chose, or was it a role that you firmly encouraged?
I'm going to let her answer that when it's her time. I think that is a little bit of both. I think she wanted it, but I think I also strongly asked, hey, or not strongly asked, I said, hey, what do you think about this this year? So last year we were graciously blessed with Brianna. She's a event planner and high-end. I think she helps plan the Sony Open and Spam Jam. She does all kinds of big events, right? And she offered her service. Hey, I want to come and serve you and help with the prom. So she helped basically be our event coordinator, which was so needed, because I'm vision, she's detail. So she got all the things, and so she graciously helped us with that. And I tried to pay her. I paid her some, but she was like, I just pay me for labor. That's it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like super blessed by her. So thank you, Brianna. If you hear this, thank you for your kindness. This year, Ava I think she wanted to be more involved anyway. And I was like, I think you could do this role. I think you could do the event coordinator role where you're handling all the vendors, the volunteers, the program, the different things. And so we kind of started, what would that look like? And I said, hey, I'll pay you just like I paid Brown. I pay you because this is an actual role that I'd paid someone anyway. I'd love to pay you for it. And, it was very organized, very systematized. So I was like, this could be a fun project for us to work on, because she already was, in certain senses from the previous proms, giving input on, she's always helped create all of the centerpieces every year. And so that's been beautiful. The favors, she's helped with that. The theme. So every year the girls, Ava, Lily, and Belle, come up with a theme, and it's usually a word. So she remembers better, but we've done adore, priceless, and this is beloved, and there's one more before that, and then there's colors with each theme, and feel for each prom. So she comes up with that. She's always come up with that, but now this year she's diving into full-on logistics, where she's handling the vendors, where the different photo booth or the glitter tattoo or the different vendors, she's coordinating with them, making sure they're all coordinated, the volunteers, the program from start to finish. She's going to have a walkie-talkie in her ear as we're going around the prom. Just like coordinating with everyone. And so later, after this podcast, we're going to do a Zoom meeting with all of our decor vendors, just to make sure we're all on the same page of how this is all going to run, right? And so she's just kind of taking running with it. But then she's layered onto that excellence. I didn't even ask for this. She made a prom brand guide. So these are our colors. This is the feel. This is the font. I'm like, yes. And then volunteer coordinator packet, our volunteer packet. So each volunteer gets this, so they understand our values, they understand what we're trying to do, where our excellence lays, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, that's awesome. I would have never thought of that, but thank you. And so just being able to partner with her has been amazing. And we're also like saying this is a test run as she goes to Spokane in the fall for culinary school. And then we're going to do a prom in Spokane. And so we're going to copy and paste. It's still going to be a lot of work, but we're going to copy and paste some of the SOPs and some of the things that we already put in place for this prom and the previous proms, and take that into Spokane and do a father-daughter prom in Spokane. But we have the system. We have the, the system in place to go and do it there.
Bro, you're glowing right now.
Yeah.
And I sense pride, admiration, and I want to know, explain the feeling behind working so closely with your daughter, and how has your relationship with her evolved?
Yeah, by God's grace, we've always had a really good relationship, but I definitely have pride. I take so much pride in who she is, and not just what she can do, right? She's a go-getter, and that's great, but she values the same things I value, in terms of, we don't value things, we value time and experience, right? And so it's so amazing to see her step into her lane and just be able to run with things and go after things and help put on, and her heart to serve, because we're doing this for others, right? Yeah. And you can do anything, but it's who you do it with makes a difference. And so to be able to do this with my daughter, like, is such a joy. Like, I can't even explain how, I guess, it's not satisfied is not the right word. How fulfilled I am to be able to do this side by side with her, and to, like, stride by stride. Hey, we need to do this. And okay, I'll be honest, we're both fireballs. So, like, we have gotten into it on a handful of times already. Like, we'll go on hikes and start talking, and we'll just get into it, and then we'll have to, like, bring it down, because we there's fireworks. We're just, oh, I thought you do this, and, like, my wife was like, hey, can you guys tone it down a little bit, because, like, we just will go. Just based on our relationship and how we are. Yeah. But then, you know what's cool is every time we'll bring resolve, and it's almost quickly. And then after we're good, So because there's intensity and we're both intense, that can sometimes, the sparks can, there can be intensity within our relationship. But I never let the relationship suffer from that, where she feels that I'm demeaning her, or she's bad, or she's failing, or, we're honest with each other, and we are able to communicate, hey, I feel like I'm failing here. And when you say that, I just feel pressure. I'm trying not to, we work through things. But I think that's the beauty of our relationship, is we can be very transparent with each other, and know that, hey, at the end of the day, we're both headed towards the same direction. Our heart is to put on the most epic experience so dads can have a transformational encounter. And we're talking about on drive here, when the prom happens, we believe that can be a catalyst into a deeper relationship.
Yep.
So sometimes you can have a one-time moment and it's cool, but this is actually a catalyst, I believe,
Yep.
where dads can actually step into the relationship and that they desire with their daughter. So doing it with my daughter is so, I can't even explain how much joy and pride and fulfillment I have being able to partner with her. And then she blows me away when she's like, hey, Dad, I put this together. I'm like, what? Like, initiative, creativity, attention to detail, like all that stuff. I'm like, man, your heart only would long I want to train you up, but I don't even know how to do that stuff. And she's doing it. And it's just like, it blows me away. And I'm so proud. Like, hey, my daughter put together this brand guide. I want to show you. Like, I don't mind being proud dad showing that off. Like, she already did this, and this is amazing. And this is going to help us with excellence be better for the prom. So I don't mind showing that thing off, you know?
Hey, you know, as a father of multiple children, how do you make your other children feel special?
That's
because,
a great,
you know what I mean? Like, this relationship is so strong.
Sure. Yeah.
Do they ever feel left out?
That's a good question. And you could ask them, and they might, to some degree, because of how intense and how close we work together on this prom, it can at times, I'm sure, feel that way. I definitely feel like our bond is strong. But I try to be intentional with some of the words and some of the time that we have and with my other two daughters. But I won't say at all that they haven't ever felt left out. I'm sure they have. And I'm sure they like, oh, that's a Dad and Ava's thing. I mean, obviously we're here on a podcast, right? And they're not here.
Yeah.
You know, I try to include them on when we get on the news or different things for them to all come. But, you know, I also don't want to push them, right? I don't want to say, hey, you need to be involved in this prom to the level that Ava is. Like, if you want to, great. If you don't want to, no problem. I'm not going to force you. But so I want to engage them at different levels whenever there's opportunity.
Can you tell me a couple of special things about the both of them?
Yeah. Lily is our middle daughter. She's 15 and she is incredibly gifted. And I feel like she has a golden touch where she got into baking and like she bakes the most amazing. She first started with sweets like cookies and, you know, brownies, and now she makes granola, and now she on her own. She created sourdough. So I don't know if you know about anything about sourdough, but like you can do a starter. And so that thing is something that you have to cultivate like over months to the point where you can actually do real sourdough. She did it on her own. Like no one taught her to do this. So I don't even understand how she figured it out. But now we get fresh sourdough. Like we're spoiled. We don't even eat. I can't even eat regular store-bought bread because she makes fresh sourdough. And she just does that. And she's like the most kind-hearted, like giving, sacrificial, almost too much sometimes, where she just caters to everyone else around her, middle child. But she's so loving, so gifted. She'll pick up jujitsu, drums, like she'll just do stuff, guitar, singing. I'm like, how are you doing all these things? And she's just gifted. But she spends time with the Lord every morning. She has this connection with God that's so beautiful that we're not forcing. We're not, hey, you need to do your quiet time. Like she just wakes up and wants to be with God and just does that. And I'm like, wow, I'm inspired. Like she just does it because she loves God. And so Lily is so gifted and beautiful and talented. And she's kind of, she helped me build a duck hutch when we got ducks. She helped me build the different things. So she does projects with me because she likes to learn. She likes to learn like that. So it's really beautiful to see her hunger for learning and gifting. She desires right now to be a doula. And so I'm like, she's telling me all these things about birth. I'm like, I don't even know half the things about that, but cool. And I can see you really being in your lane because she has a heart she loves pets, she loves kids, she loves, you know, those kind of stuff. My youngest, Belle, it's her birthday today. So thank you for having us here. She's 14 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yep. Happy birthday, Belle. Love her. She is a fireball. She's very, very gifted. She can sing like no other. She's always singing and dancing, even though she's a really gifted singer and dancer.
Pull up TikTok right now.
Yeah, she's on TikTok. She does this thing, fathers with daughters. Yeah, so I try to dance with them because like it's a way to connect with her. She's very quick-witted. Sometimes too much for her own good because she has a super quick like mind, and her words are like sometimes uplifting, sometimes cutting. But she's super like with her words. She just boom, 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 boom. You know, and but she's so fun, like and sweet, and she thinks about others. You know, we have a 104-year-old grandma, great grandma. Grandma, my grandma, great grandma. And she's like, we should go see Hibaba. We should go do this. She just loves my grandma and she talks about her and we should go do this. And so she loves people. And she's very social. She has really good friends and she pours into her friends and different things. But she's like one of those like, she's always like trying to bring life to the party. She's so fun, and Belle gifted in her musical, dancing, and different things that she just does is like blows me away. Like she took voice lessons, and I hear her sing. I'm like, oh man, she has such a beautiful voice. And you'll just hear singing. She's doing dishes, she's singing. She's taking a shower, she's singing. She's in her room, she's singing. She's just always singing. She has a song on her heart, and she's such a gift, angelic almost. She just like radiates joy, and she sings and dances, and she knows what she wants. Sometimes she can't make a decision forever, like make a decision. But sometimes she's like, I want sushi. I'm like, all right, let's go after sushi, or, different things. But she cares about people, and she's so gifted. So I'm so thankful for Belle.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Me and your wife, we share the same birthday.
That's right.
Yeah. March 12th.
March 12th.
What's one thing that you could do to be a better husband to her?
Well, why are you laughing? Immediately speaking, I think the thing I can work on is sharing more words of love and encouragement to her. Because she's told me, and I know this, her love language, if you know the 5 love, her love language is words of affirmation.
Okay.
And I know I can be better at that. I feel like I serve her in different ways, and I feel like that communicates love. But sometimes she just needs to hear it, and she needs to hear it often. And she has to remind me, hey, I could use words sometimes like, oh my gosh, yeah, I know. But sometimes I like push back when she tells me she needs words or wants words. I almost like don't want to give it. It's weird. Like I have this weird, like, don't ask for it. Let me just give it to you but I also know that sometimes it's not what I want. It's how do I love you in a language that you need to be loved. And so I need to die to myself. We just talked about this. I need to die myself and tell my wife, you are the most gracious, loving, kind, sacrificial. She puts up with so much for me to live my dream. And we make 20 years this year, June 20th, wow. June 10th. June 20th is the prom. But yeah, I'm grateful for her. So honey, I love you.
Thank you. 20 years, I could ask you what's the secret, but I feel like you just shared it. Okay, I'm going to wrap up my segment shortly, but I want you to address Ava as if she's stepping on the plane and going to Spokane, Washington.
Okay. That same emotion of pride, excitement, like I know she's just gonna thrive and fly, but I'm gonna miss her dearly. I miss her in our house, but I have more excitement than sadness. Like I'm so excited for her just to experience the world. And just be more of. It's gonna be so beautiful. Like I know she's just gonna step into more of who she is, and I know she knows I'm always here. So it's like I'm excited. I'm happy, and I couldn't be more proud. So.
Thank you. I feel like it's going to take years for Ava to fully understand how important this is. Maybe not. Maybe she's aware now. But thank you for being vulnerable with us. Russell Kimura, I want you to close out our segment, and I want you to tell the people what type of events they can expect coming up in the next year, where they can find you, and any last things you'd like to share with them.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Fathers with daughters, if you are a girl dad or if you are a wife of a girl dad, I want to invite you into magical moments with your daughter. And so June 20th, Father's Day weekend at the Hilton Hawaiian Village. We're selling out quick, I know, but I want to encourage you, don't miss this moment, because we are going to have the most epic, magical, and elegant moment for you and your daughter to connect and transform your relationship in many different ways, whether it's from the speaking the words over your daughter to just enjoying a core memory that you'll never forget. So, join us for the Fathers with Daughters. But moving forward, man, God's really putting different partners in our place. We're doing an event this Saturday with Nick Kuchar at the church in Moana, and we're doing a father-daughter event. You're going to expect more like partnerships with epic experiences where you can just raise the level of your connection with your daughter. And so Fathers with Daughters is really designed to bring hope into the home through the father-daughter relationship, through that bond. And I believe that there's something special. As you could see, I couldn't even get through any words, kind of sharing how deep the relationship and connection is with my daughter. And I believe that's the same for you. As you invest into your daughter, it's one of the best investments because it's going to pay dividends. And so you don't have to fear the teenage years. I have a 17-year-old, 15 and 14-year-old. And I believe this is some of the best times of their lives. And I don't feel that fear of, them being teenagers. And I believe that that's for every dad, every girl dad, is that you can invest, but it takes intentionality. It doesn't just happen. And you can, work all you want, but if you don't lay into connection, you can be fearful of what that teenage year is going to look like because you don't have that connection. But if you lay into that connection, I promise you the dividends that comes from that connection is exponential. And so invest now, invest early, invest often in your daughter, in the connection. That's what Fathers with Daughters is really about. You can check us out on our website, our Instagram, fathers_with_daughters or fatherswithdaughters.com. But it's less about the website and all that stuff. It's more about the connection. And if you want to step into that, please reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation, to be an encouragement to you, to be the best girl dad you possibly could be.
Bro, that was beautiful. One last thing. I want to get your voice reading this letter right here from Lily. And then after, when Kenji does all his B-roll and stuff, it'd be good if your voice is, and then you holding it up. You know what I mean?
All right. This is from Lily Grace. It says, "Dear Dad, happy Father's Day. Thank you for everything you do. I love going fishing and hiking with you. I hope you have a good Father's Day. I love you. Love, Lily."
Perfect.
This channel exists because we protect creative freedom. That also means we grow slower on purpose. If you're someone who thinks long-term and wants to help fuel what we're building without hijacking it, fill out the connect form on our website listed below. We check every submission, and if it makes sense, we'll reach out. Thanks for watching. Back to the episode.
All right, we're jumping into the second segment of today's episode, and we are so blessed to have a young woman here. And you've already heard about her through the first segment with Taisei and Russ, but here she is. And so we're going to jump in. Welcome, Ava, to BrotherLee Time. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
BTS kind of, when you're back there, I noticed first when you came in, but then also when you're back there, you were like very interested in everything going on. And it kind of made me think like, yeah, she is that person who could take a complex thing, break it down. If you have to, you can take it, copy and paste, as your dad said, do something in another place like Spokane. I want to talk about a lot of these things. But first, like, what was so interesting to you when you were back there watching your dad talk with my brother?
I honestly think, I feel like ever since I was little, I've already had my time with like dancing and being on stage in front of people. I also am really intrigued by like behind the scenes things and things that like a lot of people don't get to see. I like film. It isn't like a huge passion of mine, but it is some like a little side quest. I like film. So cameras and wires and buttons are very interesting to me, it's very cool. It isn't something that I can see myself pursuing quite yet, but I just think it's super fascinating. I like both sides of the camera behind it and being on it. So I think it's cool to me.
Cameras, wires, and buttons. That's really all it is.
Right? Yeah.
When you put it like that, I'm like, that's all I do. But I feel like we got to address how the last segment ended.
Yeah.
Your dad basically had a message. The setting is you stepping on that plane, leaving Hawaii. What would your message be as you step on that plane to leave Hawaii to your dad?
We're not going to save this part till the end.
No, it's right. It's fresh.
Okay. Oh gosh, I would have to think about that one. I guess I would say, thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. Thank you for setting me up in the way that you have. I know that you know how big of an impact you've had on my life. And thank you for always believing in me and for always providing a safe space for me and for pushing me. Thank you for allowing me space to make mistakes and not judging me and letting me come to you. Yeah. Thank you for being my biggest cheerleader.
Did you ever feel the world was judging you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because I'm like a different person. Like, I'm just so unique. And I'm not saying this like up myself. Like, I just am. Like, I'm super random. And like, there's a lot of choices, or the lifestyle that I choose to live sometimes doesn't match the way everybody thinks a 17-year-old should be. And so there is judgment that comes sometimes. And some of it's good and some of it's, constructive, but some of it can be just like people not understanding me or the way that they chose to raise me or the way that I am. And so it can be difficult sometimes, but it's not that bad anymore.
So you feel seen?
Oh yeah, for sure.
By dad.
1000%.
I got to address this as well for those who might just be watching or listening. There's 3 girl dads in the room. Okay. Ty, Russ, myself, we all have multiple daughters and only daughters. And so there's a heavy bias with a daughter's teary eyes, with a daughter's words. And so there's a huge skew as far as our point of view. And I just want to address that because we are girl dads and you're a girl dad. If you're listening, you nodding your head, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a special relationship there. Mm-hmm. So I really want to dig into your point of view. Because our daughters, Taisei and myself, our daughters are not even, well, his oldest is a teenager. But like Russell said, a lot of girl dads sort of fear, this almost unfounded fear about the teens. Mm-hmm. When I look at you and your sisters, we met at father-daughter prom a couple years ago. And I remember Russ saying this too to me. He's like, it doesn't have to be scary. And so I felt this sort of feeling of it. You're right. Like, why am I scared? I want to hear from your point of view as a teenage daughter with a father who we've just got to listen to. And then my brother and I as well. Like, what's the most fearful thing for a teenage girl? What are you scared of?
Like in terms of my relationship with my dad, or just like
you can take it whatever way, like at home, not at home. Like what?
I think as a teenage girl, I think a lot of the fear comes from, again, I think my dad touched on this, like just the way that the world sees you, because as you grow up, you're becoming more and more conscious of different eyes and different views and different expectations that are put on you to, be a certain way. And I guess this goes for guys too, as they grow up, it's just a different message that's being conveyed. And a lot of it probably does have to do with outward appearance, because you are like, whether or not it's said, especially still in today's culture, it just maybe in a different way it's expressed, like because we've come so far in like self-love and like accepting everybody and stuff. But it's still, there still is an underlying like message of, you are what you look like, you are the clothes that you wear, you are the, friends that you have, you are the boyfriend that you have, you are just whatever. And this message is kind of just like subtly pushed on us. And that's like a big fear of growing up. Like, I want to make sure that I look, as the best that I can. And I guess there is always that, that like thought or that question or that doubt of like, I don't think I am the best that I can, or the best that I can is not enough, or the best that I can do isn't as good as hers, or, whatever. And so I think that is one of the biggest struggles or fears that a teenage girl would have. And I think because of that, it like can have the potential to like project onto relationships, namely like with parents or whatever, when they choose to push them out, because not even because they want to, it's just because like that's just a default and that's safer. And it's, I'm going through so much you don't understand, or you're embarrassing, or you're whatever, so I just want you to, I just don't want a relationship, or I want to push you away. And so that can kind of stem into why I think a lot of dads can see the teenager period as scary, and also, again, you layer on there's hormones and there's things and bodies changing, and it's just like a lot of like scary, like, oh, we don't know how to deal with this, and the girl doesn't even really know, because it's just all kind of in your learning, and it's a learning process. Yeah. Well,
when you say push away, I have a basic I have a BA in psychology, even though I'm not like I'm not a clinical psychologist. It was the easiest thing for me to pick to get a scholarship to get out of Hawaii.
Yeah.
We can talk about leaving Hawaii and going to college because I went to Portland, Oregon. So we can talk about that. But I have a BA in psychology. And part of it, one of the few things I remember from like Psych 101 or whatever was this, there's about 4 or 5, correct me if I'm wrong, but like there's self-defense mechanisms that people have. And so in the case of fear, one way, you know, is deflection, delusion. You can distort things in your head to make yourself feel more comfortable. Distance is one. That's when you said push, I'm like, that sounds like a defense mechanism where you're scared of something. So you put distance, fight or flight kind of, right? But really, we push away what we want to actually hug and we want to get closer to. So if this is fear that you're describing about not being enough, or maybe you think dad doesn't understand, especially with the body changes and stuff, but like dad doesn't understand. So you push away, but really you want dad to understand. Was there a moment like that for you?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's like a specific moment, but I think that, you know, our relationship has matured a lot in the sense that like there was definitely some things and we have to work through of like, because I make the choice, well, I don't share everything with him, but I share a lot of things with him, you know? And so when I'm working through things and I'm sharing like, oh, you know, this thing happened or I experienced this or whatever, and I'm just sharing with him. One of the biggest things that we've had to tackle, and I think this is a universal thing for guys, is what I'm hearing, is like, they just want to fix things. So, you know, it's unfortunate sometimes. So he just likes to, you know, recently it's been, you know, he has to learn to just let me talk about it and, you know, just share and process, because I'm a very verbal processor. So I love to just talk about things and just get it out of my system. Afterwards, it doesn't really affect me. It's just, you know, in the moment I want to share. We actually had just recently, I was cutting his hair the other like day, and I was sharing about this unfortunate event that happened in my life or something that I'm going through right now. And he, you know, I was just sharing with him and whatever, I'm cutting his hair. And then as I'm talking about it, he goes like, he's like, well, you know, he did this a couple times too. But the first time I was like, whatever. But he's like, you know, well, if you think about it, like, it's just, I don't even know what he said, but he just was kind of just like, it's just, you know, another way you could look at it is if you think about this. And I'm just like, and so I kind of let it go the first time. And I'm continuing to cut hair. I'm continuing to talk about it. He's like, but you never know. The thing is that I'm trying to tell you is, and I literally just like blew up at him. I got so mad. I put it down and I just was like, Dad, like, you gotta stop talking about it like that. Like, I don't want to hear about another perspective. I don't want to hear about what could happen if this happened. Like, I don't care. Like, I just want to share with you. And like, he kind of like shut up and just was like, you're right. Like, I'm sorry. And then like, you know, I had my like 5 seconds of fame and then I was like, okay, like, I'm fine now. I just needed to tell you that because it got really frustrating because this thing was really important to me. And you know, he communicated that, you know, it was hard for him to hear that it was hurting me. So, you know, whatever. But like, I just shared, that's kind of my perspective on that, is like, I didn't really in the moment want to hear that. And then we worked through it, but it was really funny because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was pretty funny.
No, Ava, thank you so much for saying that out loud. And everybody, I hope you took notes on dads, because not just dads, but husbands. What you just said is one, we want to fix things. We're solution based.
Yeah.
But really, correct me if I'm wrong. What in this situation, you just wanted that connection.
Yeah.
You just wanted to share that moment, that story. You weren't give me perspective A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z option.
Yeah.
No, you're like,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah.
just be there.
Yeah, exactly.
How can we get better, Ava? How can we get better
I don't know if I'm qualified enough to say this, but I mean, it's obvious, you know, just maybe just take a second just to listen and like, I feel like he has been good with this. And then, you know, there are sometimes we forget because we're all human, but he'll ask me, you know, do you want me to share? Do you want me to just listen to you? And because there are sometimes when I want him to like help me, like, hey, fix this problem I'm dealing with. He just doesn't always know when. When is like, okay, like we're more into feelings and more into just letting her process. And there's other times where it's like, oh, hey, here's this little like kink in my life and I'm trying to make a decision or I don't know exactly what to do. So will you share? Because sometimes, you know, I'll do these things or I'll share in that situation, you know, here's my problem, but he'll interpret it as I'm processing. So she's processing. So I should just, you know, shut up. But then I'm like, oh no, like actually I want another perspective. I want another set of, you know, whatever opinions, but it's like, just figuring out in those times. So he's been good with like, he'll, ask me sometimes, do you want me to, and then yes or no. And so I think that's for now a good solution. I can't think of anything else, but.
So I got 2 follow-up questions. One, is it rude to ask like, hey, solution or listening at the beginning? Like at the jump, you just started cutting his hair. Like, is it rude for us to ask?
No, I don't think so. I think like there's a good way to approach it. It can be awkward, I think, but like ultimately once you get past that, it will save you a lot of problems if because I kind of just jump into things when I talk, so he doesn't really get a second to ask that. But I think you're right. It is a good thing, and I don't think it's rude at all. No.
Okay. And maybe, with your own situation at home, like you can come up with your own way of option. You can have code words and whatever, but
yeah, for sure.
Okay. So that's cool. And then the other part is, what age did you feel like you knew this? Whereas he's going into POV, or not POV, but like different perspectives and solution A, B, C. I don't want that. I don't want that. I just want him to listen. Like, what age do you remember this like happening?
I don't exactly know if there's a specific age. Maybe around like 13 or 14 when I started to really, formulate my own ideas and have hard things to go through and like real, difficult things, I guess, and that I would start to bring to him. Yeah, I don't know if there's a specific age, probably around then. Like he would listen to me, and then he was also very much in his like growth mindset era. Like he was just discovering all of this, so he was super hype about all of it, and was like, "Oh my gosh, there's this book I'm reading. You need to read all these books." And I'm just like, "I don't want to read more books." Like, and it was just this thing of like, okay, like, and then I was like, no, like sometimes it'd be great, and like it's because he's giving me books, and some I read and some I don't. But it's just like sometimes it's just I don't want to hear it, and I just want to like. Let me process, and like, because otherwise it makes girls feel like they're a problem to fix, and that's never a good feeling for anybody. But it can feel like, oh, this situation that I'm dealing with is just my dad, another thing my dad's gonna Mr. Fix it and then leave me, and like it's just like it just doesn't feel great. And obviously that's not the case for everything, but it can feel like the case for a lot of things where it's just like my dad just wants to give me the solution so he can feel like the man, or he can feel like he did it all, and then that's why he thinks he has a good relationship with me, but he actually doesn't know because he just doesn't listen to me and he just wants to fix it. That sort of thing. But yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Yeah.
I feel like we're all like, yes, keep going, because we're listening. You see how intently all these girl dads are listening. I want to ask, how do you know, or from a guy's point of view, from a girl dad point of view, right? I know everything you're saying is hitting a nerve. Yes, I'm guilty. I'm guilty as well. And my daughter is 9 and 7, about to be 8. Mm-hmm. So that's why the age question earlier, I'm like, when can I kind of expect this kind of thing? But I'm already seeing hints of what you're saying, namely with how I interact and how I sometimes might, or I am guilty of this, what you just described of like my good intention, no matter how good it is, could actually have an adverse effect of making my daughters feel less or not worthy, or why is dad always trying to fix me? Mm-hmm. And I'm guilty of that. And I feel like it's a weird guilt because it's almost like a negative feedback loop. The more guilty I feel, the more I feel I got to fix. And then I get more guilty because I'm doing it more. And I'm like doubling, tripling down, and I really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, where's the line? Maybe that's a question earlier of like, we want to serve you, but when does service become this almost double-edged sword of now I'm doing a disservice to you?
I think that's really good. And like, I was thinking about this as you're talking, and like, again, it also depends a lot on context. And like, I think my dad and I have a really specific relationship where I have a better relationship with him than I do my mom. And I think a lot of girls have good relationships, or like really good relationship with their mom. They're really close. And that is super good for like emotional processing and like all this other stuff. I do most of that with him. So I think that it can depend on the context. Maybe, your girls have a really good relationship with their mom, and like, and they take first things first to them, and then you maybe get the after, whatever. But like, I think that there shouldn't be a lot of guilt. Like, it's not like you guys are doing anything wrong necessarily because you don't really know. Like, you're just trying your best at the end of the day. And as they grow up and as they mature, they're going to find a voice and find that check in themselves that makes them, you know, feel invalidated when they're sharing or whatever, when you're trying to fix it. But I think these things are almost inevitable. They're gonna come up, and like, it's just how you guys choose to navigate it and stuff. But another thing is, it can be, I acknowledge this and I haven't really, like, it can be hard as a parent too, because it's like there's a line between, depending on the context and depending on what they're sharing, is like, you want, because maybe you can see that they're not handling it in the right way, because there's been so many times where I bring him things and I'm like, oh, I'm dealing with 15 different boys and I don't know which one to pick, like, whatever, not, but like, you know, it's like something where he's like, okay, like, I guarantee he thought this, like, oh, like, my daughter's dealing with this and like, it's not like good. There's been so many times where I'm like, you know, and you as a parent don't want to see your daughter go down a path that's not necessarily the best. And so there are going to be times where you're going to have to step in. And we have had these conversations where it's like, okay, now I go from being your friendly friend to, okay, I'm going to be a parent for just a second and say, hey, I don't think you should be doing this, or hey, whatever. There's those lines that, you know, occasionally you're going to have to work through, because it isn't all just like the daughter knows best and let's just let the daughter say everything that she needs to share. Yeah, she wants to share her life and her whatever, but there are certain things. And I think it's just like making sure that there's no fear there, where like the daughter is, there's a balance between like, oh, I'm going to share with my dad and not be fearful that he's going to fix me. But I know that, you know, he'll bring insight and wisdom if he needs to. And if he feels that I'm, you know, not doing something super amazing. And again, your daughters are still young, so it's not like they're doing anything crazy. But you know what I'm saying is, like, as I get older, there are decisions or situations that I've been put in that haven't been the best. And he's had to be like, okay, well, you know, I don't think he's never really threatened like punishment necessarily, because there hasn't been anything like super bad, right? I haven't snuck out or whatever. But like, there are certain times where he uses his parental authority to be like, hey, like, I, you know, probably check in, because there are those situations that are necessary too. So I don't think it's necessarily, you know, that you should feel guilty as much, you know, because I think you guys as parents are trying your best at the end of the day, and you want the best for your daughter ultimately, right? And so seeing her be put into situations or processing things, especially that are difficult, but even the good things too, like, it can be hard. So, you know, yeah.
Kenji,
Yeah,
I got a question.
Go.
Oh.
So first and foremost, I just want to say that I'm fascinated with your cognitive ability.
Oh, thanks.
You're so well spoken, and at 17 years old, it gives me hope for the future that there's youngsters out there like you. I want you to address maybe some of the teenage girls that may be watching this that desire a deeper connection with a father that maybe doesn't desire the same thing, or maybe is just too busy with life. What kind of advice can you give to the teenage girl that wants to increase the bond with her father?
That's a really good question. As you're talking, I thought a lot about some of my closer friends in their circles, and actually a lot of them, like, they have good relationships with their parents, but like, they're not super close with their dads. And I think it is kind of an anomaly for me as just who I am as a teenage girl, to have a super close relationship with my dad. Obviously I love it and I like wouldn't trade it for anything, but it's like, I know that it's awkward. It's so awkward sometimes. It just is, like, and there are certain things we don't talk about. Like, I don't want you guys to think that it's like, oh, we share everything and anything. No, we share a lot of things, a lot more than most girls do, but I don't, like, there are certain things we just, you know, he doesn't touch tampons or whatever. No, nothing like that. It's just like, he's still like very much in the ooh about that, but it's like, it can be awkward, and it's just like, a lot of times they just don't know, and they just, I think it has to be mutual, right? Like, as long as you guys are both willing to fight for a connection, and navigating that, because it is super weird and awkward, and it can be embarrassing because they're just not, like, I get that, but it's ultimately like, it's only embarrassing if you care what other people think, and like, they are kind of cringy and they are kind of weird, and like, but at the same time, like, they're your dad, and like, you love them, and so maybe just taking a second to just like let them know that you care about them, and sharing something that you wouldn't normally share, even if it's weird, and like not being afraid that he's gonna, even if he does, like just willing to take the chance of just like, hey, I'm just gonna, put something out there and my day was this, or I did this, and just start somewhere small and see. And if he isn't receptive or he isn't open, then that sucks, and I'm so sorry. Like, but that's why you have friends, and God gave you your mom and other people, and I'm sure, but it's always worth it to just try and see if he's open to pursuing the same sort of connection. And it doesn't have to be as deep or as wonderful and magical as mine, because mine isn't. But like, it's just try and just to see. Yeah.
Thank you. And then one last question before I give it back to Kenji. But as a father dealing with my own personal struggles in trying to reach a preteen girl, what kind of advice could you give me?
I love all this advice that I get to give
Yeah,
people.
no,
It's
thank
so
you.
fun.
We
I never get to give people advice. I'm just kidding. I would say, preteen, you said, right?
Preteen.
I think one of the biggest things, and I was thinking about this, like, ever since I was little, like, I would talk to my dad, and, like, he was just so pro dialogue. Like, that was his favorite word. And I didn't even know what that meant. But he was just so pro, like, talking about things and sharing things. And this is why we're able to have such a good relationship, is because I will talk to him about anything. And I've learned, like, if a dad says, oh, like, you can bring anything to me, and then I bring him, Dad, like, I just, whatever, went out drinking, or I did drugs, or whatever, like, any bad scenario. And then he goes, like, you can bring anything to me. I tell him, and he's like, oh my gosh, you terrible person. And he just starts like, whatever. Then obviously I'm not going to want to share anything with him. And I'm not saying I've done these things, but like, even in a situation that's like scaled down, where it's like, Dad, I went out with this guy, or I didn't like this, or whatever. I've been fortunate enough to where I've shared these things, or even good things that have happened to me that I'm, whatever. And the space was so just like, let's talk about it. And I'm not saying it didn't end with consequences, because sometimes it did, and my phone, I didn't see my phone again. But like, it was so much of a space where it's like, we get to just talk about things, and I process it with him, right? He's like, okay, like, why'd you do that? Why do you think, what did that make you feel? And he would ask me questions that would make me like reflect on, okay, why did I want to go out with him? Or why did I want to, go to this party? Or why did I, whatever it was. And, and it made me so much more. And he was very, not super pro, but he was pro experience too. Like, some things you can't teach, like, you can't teach children, like, they're going to have to learn through experience. And if he was very much like, if you prevent them their whole life from dating, whatever it was, like dating, phone, Instagram, whatever, if you prevent them from this, then you're not going to, then once they get the freedom to do it, they're just going to go ham. And then, there's a very high likelihood, because, parents are so fearful of what's going to happen if my child figures out this or does this. I can't let this happen. So he, I'm not saying I've been fortunate with a lot of freedoms, and that's probably why I'm so independent. But it's like, I've tried a lot of things, and a lot of things I probably shouldn't have done, but I bring them to him and we talk about it. And he's like, okay, like, how does that make you feel? Do you think you should continue to do this? Is this whatever? And he just asked me questions, and I'm like, like, I probably shouldn't do this anymore. And then I have no desire to do it again, because like, what's the point? And it's like, and it's not like, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore because my dad knows and he will beat me if I try to do it. No, like, if I did it again, which there's certain things that I have slipped up and done again. And then he's like, okay, like, we've learned from this before. Do we want to keep doing this? And he just kind of continues to create a safe space for me, where it's like, I don't feel judged or like whatever, like, but he still has a balance of like, exerting parental authority when I have done something bad, and whatever. But I think that'd be it. It's just like creating a space where they can talk about it, and they don't feel like, there's this quote, and I think it was about a mom instead of a dad, like, can be used either way. It's like, I want my future children to, instead of like, I have to hide this from my parents, like, I can't wait to go share, or I have to go tell them, or have to like, whatever. I think that's the culture that he's really created, and I'm super grateful for that. But I would say just going into it without like, just letting them know your intentions of like, whatever it is in like morals or values that your family has is like, or, with the relationship with your children is like, just make sure that there's enough space for you guys to talk about it, and that your pride doesn't get in the way of like, because I think a lot of parents are fearful of their image of what they're going to look like to other people if their kid is off, being terrible or whatever. And they're so fearful. And like, we've talked about this, because some of my friends, have these, but they're so fearful of the image you know, so they try to protect it, but in reality, they're secretly breaking their daughter or their, you know, son, their child, because it's so hard for them to navigate these very, very rigid, strict boundaries with no movement, and they just feel trapped and they feel like there's nowhere to go. So I think that, you know, granting them certain freedoms and granting them a really, really safe space to talk about it is probably the thing I would say.
Damn.
I have a lot
When's
to
the
learn.
book coming out?
I guys keep asking me to give you advice. So.
When's the podcast dropping? From Spokane. No,
Sorry.
seriously.
Damn, Russ, you got to deal with that.
Hey, no, look. This is proof of feeling safe, sharing, connecting. These are just notes I'm taking in my head while I'm listening to you, Ava. Like, safe space, be there, remove some of the judgment, but keep that parental authority intact.
Yeah.
And have that dialogue, not monologue.
Yeah.
Good thing you know
There you
that
go.
word from way back when. Because it is
Yeah.
easy for us men to have our egos. But this, you know what? This perfect segue into the question that I wanted to ask earlier. You're 17, just a couple of things maybe we haven't made clear yet. You're 17, you just graduated high school already, homeschool, you're going to Spokane Culinary School. I was in the same boat, 17, leaving Hawaii, born and raised, going to the Pacific Northwest. There's things there, but this is kind of your pre-departure. We're in our pre-departure era right now, and we're learning so much about you. I want to know what your relationship is with your mom, because you've mentioned her a couple of times, and we're here with your dad, but you're a household unit. You're the oldest sister. You have two parental authorities in the house. What's the difference in your relationship with your dad and your mom?
We're just not as close. Like, we've had some hard times and like we're still navigating it, but I would say, yeah, it's just like the differences, we just haven't been as close. I think my dad and I are a lot more similar, so it's easier to connect on certain things. And I think I spent more time with him when I was younger than I did my mom for some reason. I don't remember like why or anything, but I think when I was being thrown into a whole bunch of sports, I think we just spent a lot of time, and we built that connection from when I was younger. Not that my mom didn't. My mom was also my teacher, so it was a little bit more of a sticky dynamic, I think. Not that it was bad. It was just like, oh, you know, she's dual, so it's there. Yeah, I think she was given more authority, so there's just a little bit more we had to navigate there. And my dad was, not to say good cop, but he was the fun one most of the time.
Comparatively speaking, right?
Yeah.
You have teacher and then fun dad.
Yeah.
I think I hear that sentiment from mothers a lot. It's like, oh, dad gets to have all the fun.
Yeah.
Because I'm holding down the house.
Yeah.
And in homeschool, it's even an added layer of that. Not to, I don't want to say this to like throw shade on your mom at all.
Yeah, of course.
But I feel like it's important to address your relationship with your both parents. So,
Hey, Kenj, real quick.
yeah.
I got one question. Ava, what will mom be missing when Ava is not living in the home?
Oh, that's a good question. I haven't even remotely thought about that. Besides like the dishes and stuff like that. That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know how much. I mean, I'm honestly not around a ton. But like when I am, I guess it would just be just like getting to talk to her, or like helping out with my sisters, or driving them places or stuff like that. I think, you know, and cooking, because I cook for her once in a while, which is nice too. But I would say those things mainly. Yeah.
okay. Now that you're graduated, we can kind of remove the label of teacher from mom.
Yeah.
Dual roles there. Do you think, or how do you expect your relationship to change with your mom?
I'm not really sure yet. I think that's still something we're navigating as like, as I get older and as I experience more freedoms. But she's just been very good at supporting me and like helping me through what I want. She's never really had any pushback to a lot of things. She just like, you know, wants me to talk to her about it too. And then once I do, you know, because I'm very much like my dad, and like I have a lot of things that I want to do and accomplish, and it can be a lot for her sometimes. So just like navigating that together. But I'd say, yeah, we've just gotten like more like closer when we live around the house together and stuff like that. But nothing so much different because she still has to teach my sisters and stuff. So, you know.
Yeah. And what's the first memory you have of your mom?
I don't know if it was first memory, but like one of the memories I have of her is I was lying in bed and okay, well actually, hopefully they don't get mad if you're saying this. So like after we had my youngest sister, I wanted another one because I was getting to the age where I was mature enough to like feel like I could have a really younger sister or like another sibling, and I wanted to like be able to hold them and carry them and stuff because my sister was too old for this at this point, but I wanted another sibling. And like I remember us pushing for so long, we just wanted another kid, and we obviously didn't understand, but like, and I remember telling her that I was like, Mom, God told me that if the branch falls down in the morning, then we're gonna have another, or something like that, or like if there's a rainbow outside. But I think I had secretly looked and there was already a rainbow outside or something. I remember telling her like, Mom, you're gonna have another baby. Little did I know there was no way that was gonna happen. But I remember that distinctly, and her being like, okay, honey, like maybe, like I'm so glad you're talking to God, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. I remember that so vividly, and I thought it was so funny, but. I think that's one of them, and I don't know if she knows that, but I remember looking outside and be like, Mom, there's just a rainbow or whatever it was, something like that. Like, God told me we're going to have, obviously I was so little, but yeah, I think that's one of them.
Wow. What about your dad?
I don't know if this is first memory, but one of the memories I have of him is, oh gosh. He made me play flag football, or like I wanted to, or like we did. I was into a lot of sports, and now like looking back, I'm trying to decide if that was me liking them or him like making me like it. So I did soccer, I did t-ball, and I did flag football. I was really into like flag football. We have videos of me like throwing little football and like knocking down the thing on the trash can or whatever. But I remember him like driving me to flag football and playing all these like Toby Mac like hype songs in the car, and I was just like super into it, and I was terrible on the field. Oh my gosh, like I was so bad. They let me touch the ball like 3 times the whole season, I'm sure. I was so little too, but like I was really good at throwing, but they wouldn't let me throw because I was too little and I was a girl. But I'm still really good at throwing football. That's the only thing I'm really like athletic about anymore. But that's one thing that he gave me, which was nice. But I remember like he told me not to chew my mouthpiece when I was little because we had, you know, for flag football, there's like a little mouth guard, but everybody else was chewing them, and I thought it was so cool. So like I aggressively like put it on the side of my mouth and I was like chewing it, and then it got so bust up that I had to get a new one, and then he made me pay for it. So yeah.
Hey, you learn a little something about value and investment.
We're 2 brothers from Hawaii, and this channel is our opportunity to tell stories around the world. If you have a place, a city, an event, or a story that you think we should experience and you can help make the travel possible, there's a connect form in our site linked below. And if it makes sense, we'll reach out. Thanks for watching. Back to the episode.
Let's talk about the jump, because born and raised Hawaii, east side, Oahu, and now you're going east side, Washington State.
Yeah.
Walk me through your decision of leaving home.
I think I've always wanted to leave ever since I was little. I'm just very much like want to see the world. I want to travel. I didn't know if I was going to move out of like the house or like move out of the state or like what I was going to do. I just knew that I kind of wanted to head out somewhere. I think that it really started around like 15 when I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to do something. Like I want to figure it out. But I knew that I didn't really want the traditional college path because everybody was telling me like not to do that, namely him actually. So I just kind of like prayed about it and thought about it for a while. I dabbled. It was always east side though. I don't really want to move anywhere besides that just to start anyway. Mm-hmm. God knows where I'm going to end up, but like I would just feel so like called to go just places, and like there's nothing wrong with Hawaii. Oh my gosh, I love it. But I feel like I've lived in 2 houses my whole life, and I've lived, you know, within, you know, just a very small island. So I just want to be able to experience and explore. We visited Spokane last year, and you know, that's where he went to college too. And I just like, I fell in love with how beautiful it was. And I was like, You know, I think this would be a good place to start out. You know, I probably only end up there for a couple years, but I think that it's just so beautiful, and he knows so many people. And actually, my one of my best friends that growing up, like we grew up together here, she's going to Gonzaga this year, we didn't even plan this, but thank God, because I didn't want to be lonely. So she and I are going up there, but it wasn't even planned. Like, you know, we had our own, like, she applied to different schools, and I decided way before I knew she was applying, and I just like was like, hey, you know, I feel like this would be such a fun opportunity, and there's so much up there, you know, that I want to explore. And
So you've been there, right?
yeah, I have
A couple times.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. Yeah,
And what time of year was it when you went?
October, I think.
So
October.
it's already chilly.
Yeah, it was
In
already
fact,
chilly.
cold.
I love
Yeah.
the cold. I really do. I like whenever we will go on cold vacations, my mom will get really mad at me because a lot of times I'll just walk around with like a t-shirt and shorts, and it's like, you know, 40 degrees, and she's like, why are you doing that? I'm just like, I just want to feel cold. Like, it's so hot in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I love the cold, and I love like the changing seasons and snow and stuff. Probably won't love it forever, but I love it right now, you know.
So the plan is to go to culinary school.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like I was telling him on the way here, like I kind of just made this, like I still do really want to go. It's like a program run through a smaller school there, but it's more just so that way I can tell people I'm doing something, if I'm being so honest, because there's so many other things that I'm excited about doing and experiencing and exploring. There's a couple, like there's a nonprofit restaurant that I wanted to check out and explore, and they work with like immigrants and like the other people who are less fortunate, and then they kind of like feature them throughout the week. It's just a really, really cool like thing, and I'm so intrigued and want to like see where that is, and then just like the whole living by myself thing and like figuring it out, and like who knows if I'm gonna get a job there, or I probably will, but like but
Hey,
there is the whole culinary thing too.
I
Like,
know you're
that's fun.
surrounded by dads right now, but there's no parental pressure coming from my seat, at least, because like I was in that seat.
Yeah.
I didn't have a plan. I didn't want to be a psych major.
Yeah,
I didn't even know too much about Portland. I had cousins there,
Yeah.
so I felt some level of comfort
Yeah.
knowing like, okay, there's some familiarity in people, but not the weather, very
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
not the location, haven't spent too much time there. And at that point I hadn't, maybe the longest, how long were we in Chicago for summers? Like 2 months?
Like 2 months.
2 months ish.
Yeah.
So like the longest stretch away from home for us, or me at that time at 17, was 2 months. You're committing to a much bigger piece of time, but it sounds like you value experience.
Yes.
And so
one could say that.
it, you know, degrees, whatever, it might happen, it might not, direction might change. In fact, probably will, but we're talking about experiences. So a couple Eastern Washington experiences that stay with me to this day. One, the Gorge and George outdoor amphitheater, amazing experience watching the sky change. It's like a 2-day event, music. I think it was like at that time like Ben Harper, Jack Johnson, and the sky changing from day to night. I felt like I was in one of those sphere things that you shake. What is that called? Like a snow globe, except it was clear skies. And I was like, whoa! I thought Hawaii had good view of the night sky. That was like life changing. That Columbia River 2 Gorge, the Columbia River Gorge, driving along that, and then Pendleton Roundup. Pendleton's in Eastern Oregon, but if you're gonna be in Spokane, it's just go right down this. And then Whistler. I don't know. You like snowboarding? Or
Never done it.
Well, boom. There's a good experience for you to try.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
So I mean, there's so many experiences waiting for you.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can, one, that you feel like drawn to it, I want to experience, but then also just the logistic piece of you just have to get in a car. It's a little different than getting in an airplane here, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
part of that leads me to this logistic responsibility that you're taking on. How do you look at, first of all, the event, Fathers with Daughters in Hawaii, and how do you see it evolving in Spokane?
I mean, the one here in Hawaii, it's great. You know, it's something that I think it's amazing, and I love telling people about it. I feel like there's a shift for me seeing it as this like, oh, this is such a cute thing that I get to go to, and my dad does it, So now it's a little bit more like, oh, you know, it's kind of like partially work, and like I have to do things for this, and I have to, you know, send emails and help with this and coordinate all that and whatever. But it's still great and it's magical and I love it. I feel like transitioning to Spokane, I honestly have not thought about it a lot, like how we're going to move it from here to Spokane, just because we're so focused on here right now and like finishing and completing this one. But we are like keeping logs of everything and, you know, making sure everything's all set and like tracking everything so we are able to bring all of that into the new one that we're going to do and try out. But I have not thought about it at all very much.
You know, because I'm wondering, for me, my culture shock, if you will, we're coming from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Middle of the Pacific Ocean, very diverse. People of color are the majority. I went to Portland, which is the most populated city in Oregon. You're going to Spokane, Eastern Washington, not Seattle, not Tacoma, you know, like, so people of color, we know is going to be the minority there.
Yeah.
Is there any kind of, and I'm linking it to the father-daughter thing eventually, but right now it's the bigger environment that you're stepping into. How used are you to being a minority?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, no, I definitely like when we go travel, like I kind of realize that, especially since I've born and raised in Hawaii, and I'm only aware of it when we travel. But like, I remember being in a grocery store, like one of our first days in Spokane, and I was looking around and I told my dad, I was like, Dad, everybody's so white. And he's like, yeah, that's kind of how it is here. And I was like, right, okay. Yeah. And I think it's funny for me because I have a lot of experience with like tourists and like haoles, and like majority of my friends are actually like they're all pretty much white, which love them to death, right? Like they're great, but it's funny to me, and I'm still like navigating it. Like I've never had an experience necessarily where I felt like, oh, what's the word, like microaggression or something, where it's like I felt like I've been fortunate enough to be pretty much like chill on that part, and also I'm mixed, so I am partially Hapa, like white, from my mom's side. But I guess I haven't thought about it too much. I guess it will be slightly different, but I'm also, you know, slightly accustomed to being around people like that and being the minority in a lot of friend groups and stuff, because it's this like every like in my circles, a lot of people are just very not like me or you know, whatever. So I'm not super pressed about it. I think it worst case, it just makes me unique and makes me different. So I'm like, whatever, like,
you know, it's going to give you a lot of new experiences for your experience grab bag. Like,
yeah, definitely.
What are you?
I'm
saying you got to get used to getting asked that question.
I get asked this all the time.
Even in Hawaii.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All my coworkers are like, what are you? I'm 50% Japanese from my dad. I'm a quarter Caucasian from my mom. And then the other quarter is like Filipino, Chinese, I think a little bit of Spanish, something like that.
Ken, she kind of gives
Hawaii.
She almost gives Susie Aaron vibes.
Little bit, yeah, because we have family too that's a mix of Japanese, white, but Swiss specifically. Yeah. And then even within that, like with DNA testing nowadays, like you might find out you something else you didn't even know you were. You know what I mean? And being in Hawaii, it's like chances are you some Filipino or Chinese or something.
Yeah.
But not in Spokane, you know what I mean? Not in Boise, not in Pendleton. There's big native population out there though.
Yeah.
So Eastern Washington and Oregon. So I'm sure people are going to be like, "Are you what you know? What kind of native are you?" And your name's Kimura.
Oh my! I was actually just thinking about this, like. The way my white friends pronounce Kimura is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. I would literally be like, say my last name. And they literally, it's just so funny. I crack up every time. And I'm like, I can't. Like,
how do you say him?
Kimura. I'm like, right. And I'm sure he gets this all the time. But I'm like, right. And it's just like, it's so funny to me. I'm like, all right.
We'll get used to that.
I know.
You know what I mean? In fact, make a little journal of like how many times.
Yeah, just like keep a record.
Pronunciations that have been said.
Yeah.
You know what though?
What?
Oh.
I want you to address your sisters.
Okay.
They're gonna miss you. I'm sure that energy, right?
I know you're gonna keep.
Yeah,
they might not.
Keep in touch. They might
not.
Party. How are you gonna prepare them for your departure?
Oh, I have not thought about this even a little bit. Let me think. Let Let me think about this. Well, I know that maybe you guys think I don't care or like I'm not always around as much, but I know that you guys are, I'm going to miss you so much, and being able to have like 2 built-in best friends living with me is like crazy, and I literally wouldn't trade it for anything. And I'm, in some sense, I'm sorry that I'm leaving, but I'm also, I know that you guys are going to do great things, and as you grow up and as you navigate the house and the world, I know I won't be there for everything, but I promise that I'll always still be here if you need anything. I'm so grateful for everything that we've shared together growing up and being in the same house and close rooms and all the great, the memories, the moments. And I know that it maybe will be easy for you, but it won't be easy for me. And so I'm going to miss you guys a lot. And hopefully obviously we will still keep in touch, but and I think the thing I'm going to miss the most is borrowing your clothes. Love you.
The reason I brought up the whole race thing, first of all, like, let me just say this. Like, I do think it's a human constructed box, right? Race, skin color. We all know how insignificant it is as far as who we are as animals and living beings. But we give it so much significance and weight in our society and our culture, which is a bunch of BS. And what kind of strikes through that, what makes it obvious, is our relationships, our bonds, namely father-daughter bonds. I'm willing to bet the father-daughter prom in Spokane is going to have as much tears as the father-daughter prom in Hawaii, in India, in Germany, and wherever you take a father-daughter prom, dads will be crying. Daughters will be seeing their dad cry for the first time or second time in their adult life. No matter what, no matter where, what language or anything, I'm wishful to see, the media or whatever that comes out of this event, and I'm willing to bet it's going to be equally as powerful, regardless of how white the audience is in Spokane or whatever the case. You know what I mean? The father-daughter bond is stronger than any kind of race, age, nationality, ethnicity. So we are looking forward to that. But I'd like to know, besides taking on this kuleana, what else, listening to you here today, this 17-year-old young woman, we can tell already, like, she values experience, she's well-spoken. But what other targets do you have on your or your yearly calendar? Let's just say short term, like in the next 5 years. What can we expect from you, Ava?
That's a really good question. 5 years. 5 years is a lot of time. I try to think about this once in a while, but it's kind of hard to grasp 5 years. I would say, I want to travel. Sorry. Like, I really want to travel. I want to go see a lot of places. That's like big on my bucket list. What is 3 years? 3 years is like when I'll be like 22, 23, something like that. Yeah. So I'll be around there. I would love to, see my dad's company and like see where I fit into that and see if I can, work something out with him and like work with him. I want to continue to step in whatever calling God has for me and like whatever that looks like in hospitality and in cooking and all that, and like just seeing where that takes me, and just like a whole bunch of side quests and things I want to explore, and I want to make new friends. Hopefully be in like a committed relationship at that point, but like if that doesn't happen, I'm not that worried about it. I've always said by around like 22, 23 I'd want to own my first property, but I don't know if I'm gonna get to that point yet. I'd say there's a chance we could get there, but
you can do it.
If that's an asset God wants me to have, He'll bring it. I definitely, I want to travel to a bunch of different countries, see a bunch of different things, and so I would say 5 years, that's around the target I have. I know I need to hone in a little bit more on specifically what I'm looking at, but I don't think I will be in Washington in 5 years. That'll just be my guess. I'll probably end up being somewhere else, but those are kind of what things that we can see happening.
You know what I both admire and also I want to bring up, kind of highlight, is here we have a 17-year-old young woman in her pre-departure era, right? Pre-departure from home. And you just heard what kind of goals she has. And nowhere in that, well, first of all, you're going to get your property. Get that property. Investment is one thing I wanted to talk about, but get that property, girl. Do that. Invest early, invest often. What's the other one? It was a 3-piece. Invest early, invest often. I don't know. You said it earlier, and I was like, that was nice. But yes to that. Not only in the property, but in the connections, which you're very wealthy in that field. But then the other part is this working young 20s / mid 20s woman who's got her goals and not having something like, I want to be a mom and have 3 kids on that list. To me, people feel differently about it, but I actually like hearing your version of your young 20s self, because there's so much more to offer from this era, this young 20, mid 20s females out in the world that doesn't have to necessarily be tied to being a mother.
Yeah, no. And because my sister, so this is so funny because we're opposites. My sister Lily, the one with all the bread and stuff, she's so like driven to be a mom. Like I've never met anybody, even all my friends, like she just feels this calling on her life to be a mom. And like he talks about the whole doula thing, and like she's always talking about kids and like birth and like whatever and family, and she's just so like, so that's her calling, like that's what she feels. And so I'm like yeah, of course, like I want to support you when you get married at 21 or whatever. Like I want you to have that family. It's just that's not something that I see for my life. And like yeah, of course I want to have kids later probably, but it's also like that's something that I don't see for myself for a really long time. And then like 2 other things that I remembered when you were talking about like mid-20s and stuff. The hard deadline I set for myself when I got into the service industry, because I've been in service industry for like almost 2 years, I think. And it's funny because Taisei and I both work for Roy's. Well, he's a manager. I'm just a hostess. But anyway, so we're both like, and I've worked at different restaurants and stuff, and I've experienced a lot. And like, one of the big takeaways I've had is just like the way that the service industry, and like no offense because I'm sure you love your job, but like specifically like servers or bartenders, if they're super unhappy with their life, it can just be such a trap. And like I see like people in their like 30s and like 20, they're just like, oh, I hate this place, like I hate everything, like but they're making good enough money where they want to stay, and it's just like it's such a trap because they there's nowhere that pays as good as that, but it's not enough to actually get them ahead, right? And so it's like the hard out I gave myself was 21 to be out of the service industry by 21. So that is another thing that I'll be done by then for sure. But I love it for right now. Like, oh my gosh, it is the biggest hack and one of the biggest privileges I've ever got to have in my life, because I've been homeschooled, being able to like split my time a little bit, right? Because I didn't have like 6 hours of school. Like I could flex my hours and like started working when I was 15 and a half, and like been able to make a decent amount of money and save up. And I was talking to my dad in the car about investments and stuff. It's not like I'm not super rich, but just like I've been able to make myself enough money where I could sustain myself and like put into different investments and like get ahead, whatever that even means. What
is your portfolio like?
What does that mean?
What are your investments when you say put into investments? What are you?
I don't know, like stocks and like other things like that. Just like whatever, like. And again, mine are a little limited because I'm not 18, and there's some like legalistic things to like, oh, you can't do this until you're 18, whatever. Yeah. Whatever. But just like different stocks. And like, even when I was like young, like when I first had my first job, my dad was like, you need to give me a certain amount of your paycheck and I'm going to put it in crypto. And I was like, okay. Like, so he would just take a little bit of money, and like, obviously that grew to, he would just take it, and I was just like, whatever. And then I learned on my own that that's such a good experience. You give some of your money to God, you give some of it to investments, and then you figure out how you want to spend and save. Obviously, I'm not perfect. I still go shopping and I still go out, but it's like, I save majority of my money and the rest either goes to God or investments. And I just learned early on just to like take it out of my check. So it's not like, cause now I've been fortunate enough to, make a lot of, since I'm done with school now too, I work like medium amount, and it's a blessing. So anyway, so that is one of the hard outs that I had for myself, would be in mid-20s, 21 would be to be done. Because I know that like if I have an end goal and I'm still like, oh, I'm just going to work in this industry until I, whatever, like just for as long as possible. Because then that just becomes like, you're just going to live there forever, and you're like not going to, like, you're not going to be able to, fully experience what you want to and like whatever. And I see that in like a lot of my coworkers, and like, no offense, like I love everybody, but it's just like, it sucks. And they know it sucks because they tell me it sucks. And it's like,
you know what though? That trap is the same across every earning bracket.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Millionaires feel that way. No, billionaires feel that way.
Absolutely. And it's like, and I think another thing that I really desire, and like my dad has taught me the importance of, time over money and stuff, is like, I don't want to work for somebody my whole life. Like, I just do not want to be an employee for my whole life, because like that idea just sucks. And like, I just don't want to think about that. And so, but I'm totally game to do it right now. Like, I have nothing else going on. Like, obviously, yeah, I want to start my own thing and I want to make my own income and whatever. But like right now, I'm so game to work for somebody right now, because I don't have much going for me. And I want to, as I explore and as I learn and as I grow, I still want to make sure I have a little bit of income, even if it is working for someone clocking in and out, like whatever.
I'll tell you right now, someone's watching this and they're going to recruit you. Like, oh, that's who I want in my company, which is great, because now you have time on your side, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, sure. Yeah, what? 12 months, 16 months, 18 months at your company? Sure, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because that attitude that you're showing, it's on full display in this episode, is valuable. And a lot of people it can help growing organizations, new organizations, matured ones. Just having someone like a Ava on the team, look out. And you're only 17. So like, I wish I had that. I could even just talk like how you're talking. At 17, I had zero investments. I didn't. I mean, I guess I knew what a stock was, but I didn't really. There was no crypto. I still don't really know.
I just do it because.
No, but like, hey, put money. Let me be a dad real quick. Let me be a dad and suggest a book. Go for it. Richest Man in Babylon. That's one of the teachings. Is every dollar in, you have every cent, or I think it's not a dollar. It's different currency in that time. But let's just say $1. 10 cents goes to this, 20 cents goes to this, 30 cents goes to this. And that's the habit you build. It sounds like you're already doing that, because you know where every dollar coming in is going. So there's nothing but confidence from my side of this, as far as you developing, growing, killing it. I think we're all stoked for that. So to sort of wrap things up here, I wanted to ask about role models.
Okay.
You don't have to say dad because he's here. But can you give us some ideas of who are some of your own role models and why?
Oh, that's a really good question. Honestly, being so transparent, I don't have a lot of as much female role models, godly female role models as I would like. Like, I'm still trying to figure out that aspect of my life. It's very much, honestly, it's not like a lot. And I really want more, and I really want more mentors and more like people to look up to in that area. I don't have a lot of it right now. So I'm still, something I'm praying about, but obviously like he is the biggest role model that I have. And I'm not just saying that because he's here, but definitely his lifestyle and the things that he prioritizes and the things that he desires, a lot of it aligns. Not everything aligns with me, and that's something that I've had to figure out too, is like, okay, there's not everything. I'm not going to copy paste his life into mine, because there are certain things I don't necessarily agree with or wouldn't prioritize, or certain things that I would prioritize more. But by and large, like, give or take, like, that is what I aspire and hope that my lifestyle is somewhat like, and the way that he provides for his family and like all that stuff. Like, I want to be able to do that too in some ways. And like sets up his future and doesn't work, exchange time for money. But I am only 17, so I am gonna say influencers just a little bit, because there are people that I just like, I'm like, oh, like, your life is so cool. I hope one day, no one in particular. It's just like people I'll see online. I'm like, wow, like, that's awesome. Like, travel the world and talk about Jesus, or go, whatever. Like, there's every category, like fitness, health, like.
The digital nomad is my favorite.
It's still like, there are people, like, I gotta say, like, there are people that obviously their life is so polished online, but it's still like looking up to that and being like, man, like, that's so cool. You're creating content, or you're just sharing your life. You're sharing Jesus online. You're, working out. You're being super disciplined. You have your passion. You're calling, whatever. And I think that's super cool and inspiring. So I would say stuff like that is just, it's cool to be able to look up to and get inspiration from without idolizing it and making like, oh my gosh, like, I'm such a failure because my life doesn't look like theirs. It's something I've definitely had to like remind myself of too, because I'm only 17. Like sometimes I forget it myself. Like it's just like, it's okay if I don't have my life figured out. Like, yeah, I have a lot right now, but I don't have everything. But the pressure sometimes is so real. But it's just like reminding myself that, hey, these people are very polished online. It's cool to look up to them, but also realizing that's not everything, you know?
You know, I feel like you're gonna have your own sort of podcast or some kind of like channel where you got a lot inside
God,
that
I
is
hope
just
so. I need
waiting
it.
to come out. And if you're that digital nomad making money around the world, living those experiences and sharing with us, spreading the word of God, like there is an audience for you.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it's going to be a big one. It's not going to be a little one. You can do any event you want anywhere. I'd like you to have the last word though.
Oh.
And you can look into that camera when you say it. But because we kind of, all four of us in this room came together under the banner of Fathers with Daughters, I would like a message from you to, you can take it whichever way you want. I thought of a few when I'm listening to you. I'm like, which one would be the best?
Okay.
I'll give you a few options. Boom, I'll just throw it up. Boom, you knock it out however you want. One would be to your future self, treating this as a time capsule when you are a mother yourself. So there's that. Another one would be to the future father of your children.
Oh.
What kind of message the 17-year-old version of you might want to leave for that future person. And then another one is a little more generic, you could say, but it is for daughters out there who are seeking the kind of connection that you have with your father. What sort of hopeful message can you close us out with? That's a lot, but you can choose whichever one you want. And
Okay, I can't choose. Can you choose? Please.
I like the time capsule one just because
Okay.
you'll be able to look back at this and you
okay.
see yourself.
Okay.
Okay.
Time capsule one.
That says time capsule.
I've been meaning to do more of this actually. Like I need to write a letter to myself in 5 years and yada yada, but I'll do that later. Let me think. Sorry. So wait, what is the time? Like when am I gonna open this time capsule?
Let's just say the time capsule as a mom.
Oh, mom.
Is that what you're
Okay.
thinking? That's
One of them, yeah.
okay. Like you're talking to your future mom.
Okay, but you gotta take this video and you gotta hide it so I don't watch it, okay?
Yeah.
You know how to hide this? Okay.
I'll let it be.
You can just use this clip and then you can send it to me later. So when I become a mom.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say, well, I feel like there's an 80-20% chance of me being a mom. I do believe I want to and I hope I can, but if this did happen, right, it happened because God allowed me to, you know, the privilege and the honor of being able to bring another life into the world and being able to impart all the things that I've learned onto somebody else and to raise someone, whether, you know, whoever it is, son or daughter. I am just, one, I'm so grateful for the chance to be able to, just to be in their life and be hopefully a role model to them. And I'm so grateful for the person that they're going to become. And I'm so thankful. And I do this already. Like I pray for my future family and for my future husband and my future self. But I'm also so proud of you and everything that you've done. I know that we're going to do great things and I'm so excited. And when I've come to this point, this is just, I'm sure it's a big milestone. And I'm probably going to be crying when I watch this. So I'm super excited for that, just to be emotional. But so I'm really, really excited for this next season of our life. And I'm so proud of how far we've come and what we've done. And that's it.